Hey guys, thanks for joining me, and if you like what you see, please subscribe.
All right, hello, welcome to Sharp Ends. So at the end of the last video, which was a knife collection video I just did, I had all my knives out and I thought to myself, what is my favorite knife in my collection right now? And I answered that question several months ago. It was this one at the time, but I decided to narrow down all those knives that you saw in that collection video down to my top 10. This is my top 10. I don't know which one's the best right now or which one's number 10. And this is, of course, my own personal taste, so take that with a grain of salt. Here are the top 10 that I pulled out that I thought that I like the most out of my collection. They are the TRM Atom, the SBR Les George designed ProTech automatic knife with the Ultim scale, and then I've got the Tactile Turn Knife Company Bear, or BAXER spelled that way, and then I've got a ProTech, a Spyderco build that I did, Paramilitary 2. So this right now is definitely one of my favorite knives. It's got Lotus scales on it and a nice lynch clip on it and compression made easy on it. And then this from North Arms, the Skaha, which is great. And then I have the ProTech Malibu. So I have two Malibus on the table. This is definitely a knife that everyone talks about and is worth what everything they say about it is true. And then I have the Quiet Carry Drift, which I use all the freaking time, especially in the summer when I'm sailing and canoeing and such. And then I have the Exo Knives Gravity Knife OTF LMAX steel. Super fun, hard to demonstrate how cool it is underneath a camera, but so much fun. And then next I have the Slayback from MBK, designed by Ray Laconico. Flipper. And then I, of course, have the textured titanium AD 20.5 and 3V steel, which was my favorite knife several weeks ago in my collection. Well, several months ago, last summer, I think I said that this was my favorite knife of all time. So these are the knives that I winnowed down. And now I'm going to play a horrible game called Which One of Your Children Are You Going to Sacrifice? So first off, I think that the way that I'm going to do this and split them into two tiers. I'm going to say the lower, so, places 6 through 10 and then 1 through 5. So I'm going to say that this is going to be 1 through 5 eventually. I'm not placing them in order. I'm just kind of moving things around right now. I think, oh gosh, all right. Do I think this is accurate? Okay, so I think this is accurate. I think that these are my top, I think these are probably somewhere in my top 5, and I think these are probably my lower half. I reserve the right to change that. So coming in last, in 10th place, which is still pretty high because I have way too many knives. I think I will go with the Slayback. I think the Slayback is a great knife, and I like it a lot. But I think it's going to go number 10. I really like Ray Laconico. I really like MBK knives. I tend to buy them and use them. And this one feels really good in the hand. I really like its shape and its ergos. I've done a review of it. I love its clip. It might have the best clip on the table. I don't know if that's true or not. But it has a freaking phenomenal milled clip here. And then the ZDP 189, I mean, that's just a freaking awesome super steel that you usually paying thousands of dollars for, or like hundreds of dollars for, I should say. And it's in this cool little cheap knife. Not cheap, but, relatively speaking. And the shape, the ergos, I've talked about this. I love how this line continues through there, and the knife almost looks like it's backwards, like I should be cutting this way, but really you're cutting this way. Yeah, it's just a great knife. So I think that's number 10. And I think that I think I'm going to keep going. I think I'm going to say that this is number 9. This Adam is an incredible knife, especially with the titanium scales. I think I like it. If it didn't have the titanium scales on it, I don't think it would be on this top 10. But the machining on this is incredible. Do you see these little scallops and these ridges here? It's almost like jimping, right? And then this clip is phenomenal. 20 CV. I've just sharpened it up. It's super, super sharp right now. It's just a great knife. So we'll call that number 9. Coming in on number 8, I think that we will say that number 8 is probably the Spyderco PM2 Paramilitary 2. This is a phenomenal knife. I really like the way that it looks. I had a lot of fun putting this together with the Flytanium scales and the DCL hardware. This is 90 S90V. The stock blade that I got for it was like $130 something from DLT. DLT is a great company. You should buy from them. In fact, they have if you're looking in early February or middle of February right now, they have an Andela for $100 basically, which looks really good, and it's made out of Crewware. So DLT is a great company to try to get these blades, but then, you know, customizing it. This is still a little shiny. This is still very shiny. This brass will continue to patina. But anyway, yeah, I love this knife. And then I think next I'm going to say, I think I'm going to have to say this knife. I'm going to have to say coming in number, so this would be, 10, 9, 8. In place number 7 is what was my favorite knife several months ago. I think that most of these knives on the table are newer than that. Maybe not. This one isn't. This one's just become, I think, more of a favorite. I love this texturing. I love the shark lock. The shark's foot is fine. It's fine. I thought I would like it more than I do. I think I like the drop point leaf shape blade a little bit more on this. With the shark's foot, the blade kind of ends well before the heel of the scales, but that's fine. I love this deep carry clip. I love the way this carries. It's just a really good work knife. It's good for carving things up, a little bit of feather sticking, good for having inside when I'm doing carpentry in my shop. I love the action. It's a fidget toy. It's a lot of fun to play with. Coming in number 6 is the Bear, which is a lockback. And I know, like, a lot of people wouldn't necessarily have a lockback as their favorite knife, but this is a Magna Cut. It's super, super thin. Like this, just, I mean, incredibly thin. Compare this to a freaking, you know, you could fit 2 of these inside of what a Paramilitary 2 is. So it just disappears in the pocket. I usually actually carry it in this little sheath. I actually even have a little brass lanyard on it. One day this brass will be kind of this color, so that I'm looking forward to that. The texturing on here is incredible on this Bear, and then the knife stock thickness is just super, super razor thin. This knife is so sharp. And one of the reasons I like it is because I will carry this inside of a city that has laws when I'm traveling or whatever. Having this slip in my pocket, no one really sees. It's a gentleman's tool, and yet I still have a knife on me, and no one's going to give me a hard time about it, or at least they haven't yet. So that's number 6. So number 5. So I'm going to let practical considerations come into factor here. I absolutely love this knife. I love the gravity knife. The Riyadh XO LMAX. I mean, it's definitely high-end premium stuff, especially with this inlay here. There's very few of these made. In fact, this has a serial number. It says, what does it say on it? It says number 30, and it was made in June 2022. So, you know, this is a cool knife, and it's, you know, got the Tonto blade on here. It's razor sharp. It's so sharp. But practical considerations being that this is still super illegal in almost every state in the country. And even though Pennsylvania just made a new auto law, which allows automatic laws to be legal, it doesn't apply to OTF gravity knives, paratrooper knives. That being said, I love carrying this around and using it, and it's a lot of fun to play with, and I would never get rid of it out of my collection. I actually have people offering to buy this knife from me all the time whenever I post a picture of it, but I just wouldn't sell it because it's just too much fun. But it doesn't go farther up in the list just because it's hard to carry. Next, I think I'm going to go ahead and say the SBR. So I really like this knife, and I think it's my favorite auto. I really like Les George aesthetics. I really like this Ultem scale. It's nice. It's relatively small especially compared to the PM2. You'll see, like, this is a small knife, right? But it's a practical knife. S35 VN is fine, it's good to go. Steel, I love ProTech. I like what they do. I think it's ironic that they're like one of the largest manufacturers of automatic knives, and they're in California. Most of their stuff is illegal to carry in California, but this is a great little knife, and I enjoy carrying this a lot. So yeah, there you go. And then I think I'm going to say that the Skaha is next. So this is North Arms. I just did a review of this knife. I really like the action. Do you hear that sound? Oh, that sound, man. It's just freaking phenomenal. I love it. I love the scales. Love the clip. I love how this disappears. I love this is MagnaCut done really well. I just sharpened it up, and it's going to last me forever. I probably won't need to sharpen it for months now. The flipper tab is really well jimped. It's got great ergos. It's basic. It's got a great little liner lock to it. It's just a phenomenal knife, and I love it. I just love carrying this knife. It feels so good to carry. And so then it comes down to second place and first place. So I think I'm going to say second place is going to go to, and I'm sorry, the blade is a little dirty on my Malibu, but I use it. You know, the hype is real. I was in Europe, and I got an alert, a text message alert on my phone saying, hey, these just dropped. And I picked one up. I came home. There it was. And, you know, all the hype is real. This is totally murdered out. It's got the textured it's textured aluminum handles. And this is, what is this, 20 CV? Yeah, 20 CV, ProTech, Malibu, flipper, great action, button lock. I mean, it's another one of those, like, that sound too. I really, you know, the tactile thing is great, but also, like, listening to the sound that some of these make is just incredible. And a flipper usually has an incredible sound. That has an incredible sound. That has an incredible sound. And then you compare it to something like the ProTech, to the SBR. That's a very satisfying sound. So, you know, I don't know. Sometimes it's about that satisfaction you get just from deploying it, I think. Does that make sense? I don't know. And then that number one spot, quiet carry, Vanex, super steel, super clean, with titanium handles. I use this knife all the time in the summer. It's got a hollow grind here, which makes this knife extremely slicey. It's got made from very thin metal stock. It's a joy to flip open. You can only flip it open with your thumb. You can't do the Spidey flick with it, but that doesn't really matter to me. It's just a really reliable knife. Feels really good in the hand. Will never, ever rust, and I know this because I've literally gone swimming in the ocean with it and taken it out I think I went out for a 6-day adventure, and I carried this every single day on my life vest and was in the salt water every single day. About 3/4 of the way through the trip, it started to gum up and not lock all the way. And so I took some fresh water and I rinsed it out and got all the salts and sand out of there. And then it locked up and it was fine. And then when I got home, you know, after a week or so, I tore it apart and I opened it up, and there wasn't a single spot of rust anywhere to be found on this, which I just think is phenomenal. And it was still really sharp. So I definitely recommend this knife. I think it's a gem, and yeah, it's just a beauty. So that's it, friends. 1 through 10. Coming in number 10 is the Slayback. Number 9 is the Atom. Number 8 is the Paramilitary 2. Number 7 is the Demco 8020.5. Number 6 is the Tactile Turn Knife Company Bear. Number 5 is the Riot Exo Gravity Knife OTF. Number 4 is the SBR from ProTech. Number 3 is the Skaha from North Arms. Number 2 is the Malibu from ProTech. And then number 1 is the Waypoint. So, yeah, I don't know what that tells me about what that says about me or not. Let me know what you guys think, or any of your favorite knives on this table right now. I'd be curious to know. I'd also be curious to know if you saw something in my collection that didn't make it to my top 10. Let me know about that too. Thank you for joining me again. This was a fun video to make. It was really hard to make. If you enjoyed this video, please tell a friend. And if you didn't enjoy this video, please tell an enemy. But whatever you do, please tell someone. And I'll see you next time on Sharp Ends. Bye-bye now.